This might be the most insane Ford small block V8 I have ever seen. When it comes to Ford's catalog of small block V8s, well, you're kind of spoiled for choice. You have the old school pushrod small block that called things like the Fox Body Mustang home. You also have the entire Mod Motors series, which has its ups, it has its downs, but they've made some pretty powerful versions of them. And technically speaking, the Coyote is a small block, and we've covered just how much power you can make out of one of those. But here's the thing with all of those engines. To make truly big horsepower, you're building them to well-handled boost. And here's the thing about boost. It's great. It's awesome. I had a Mustang. I boosted it. It made over 700 horsepower, and it was an absolute riot to drive in the best way possible. However, this is America, and we have a tradition here of taking an engine, looking at it, deciding that it needs more horsepower, and instead of adding boost to it, we just add more cubic inches. So when posed with the question of how to get more horsepower out of the Godzilla platform, 10K Technology took one look at it and said, let's add cubic inches. 511 of them to be exact. As everyone is keenly aware at this point, Ford's Godzilla engine, well, it was designed to be a truck engine. It was designed to haul stuff. It was designed to tow stuff. It wasn't really designed to be a performance engine. However, it didn't take the hot rodding community any time at all to take one look at the engine and think, yeah, that's great in a truck. What if we put it into a car? And it turns out a butt ton of torque is a butt ton of torque, and it worked really, really well in cars, which meant, hey, we got to work on making this thing faster. Fast forward, and even Ford came to the same conclusion with their Megazilla crate engine. And with pretty much every single go-fast bit bolted to the engine Ford could think of, it made 612 horsepower and a whopping 670 pound-feet of torque, which was more than sufficient for about 5 minutes. And then Ford came out with the supercharged version, and that managed to push the old workhorse of a truck engine above 1,000 horsepower. Now, don't get me wrong, both of these engines are incredible. They're insane, they're fantastic, especially, again, when you consider the fact that this is a humble truck engine now producing these power figures. However, what if you wanted to go things a different route? Remember, I said this is America, and we typically like to make horsepower by adding cubic inches, and this brings me back to 10K Technology. See, they enjoy a good Godzilla. They make a ton of different parts to make your Godzilla perform better. And of course, being hot rodders and not being ones to leave well enough alone, they looked at the Godzilla and realized that it could make more than 445 cubic inches, quite a bit more. This engine is punched out to 511 cubic inches. That is absolutely massive. That is insane for a small block when it comes to displacement. And that's because if you wanted over 500 cubic inches in a V8 and also have it be streetable, that meant you had to go to a big block. And that's why I think it might be one of, if not the most insane small block out there, because it has big block displacement coming from a small block. That is nuts. And it makes over 700 horsepower and 750 pound-feet of torque.